Welcome to our channel HD Rare Coin 111, your go-to spot for uncovering the incredible world of rare US coins. If you've ever wondered if your old pennies, nickels, or dimes are worth more than face value, you're about to find out. In today's video, we'll be exploring some truly rare coins and their shocking values. And if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. So let's jump in. Top 1. Today we dive deep into the hidden treasures you might have lying around your home, tucked in drawers, or sitting unnoticed in your pocket change. Today, we're talking about a coin that millions of people have seen, spent, and passed over without a second thought. The humble Lincoln 1-cent penny from the year 1973. But hold on, this isn't just any old coin. There's a version of this penny out there that's got collectors scrambling, and you won't believe how much it's worth. At first glance, the 1973 Lincoln penny seems like just another coin in the long line of copper-colored cents we use every day. It features the iconic profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that's been around since 1909. His face, carved in careful detail by Victor David Brenner, has become one of the most familiar images in American currency. On the reverse of the 1973 version, you'll find the image of the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of national unity and pride. But like many things in life, it's what you can't see with the naked eye that makes all the difference. The story of the 1973 penny is fascinating not only because of its design but also due to the different versions that exist. Most of these pennies were struck in copper and circulated widely across the United States. There are versions from the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark, and others from Denver with a small d. There are also some from the San Francisco Mint that were created as proof coins, special editions for collectors. But buried among the ordinary examples are a few rare gems, and these are the ones that are turning heads in the coin collecting world. Now, let's talk about what makes some of these pennies so special. It comes down to a few tiny details so small that you'd likely never notice them unless you knew what to look for. Some 1973 Lincoln pennies were minted with errors or unique characteristics that weren't intended by the U.S. Mint. These include things like doubling of letters and numbers, especially in the word Liberty, or the date itself. Others may have been struck on the wrong metal planchet, meaning they were made from the wrong type of metal. These rare anomalies are often the result of mistakes made during the minting process, but to collectors, they are pure gold. Imagine this: a single penny, which was made to be worth just 1 cent, suddenly becomes a rare collectible. It might have the exact same design as the millions of other pennies in circulation, but because of a small error, a mint mark variation, or an unusual composition, it becomes incredibly desirable. The 1973 penny is one such case. Some of these coins have surfaced with striking errors or nearly flawless condition that places them in the top tier of collectible US coins. There's also something magical about the condition of a coin. In the numismatic world, condition is everything. A coin that has never been circulated, one that still glows with its original luster and sharp details, is worth far more than one that's been worn down in everyday use. These are known as mint state coins, and when a 1973 penny is found in this pristine condition, especially if it also has a rare error, its value skyrockets. Coin grading services like PCGS and NGC are responsible for verifying the authenticity and quality of coins, and they've confirmed that some 1973 pennies are indeed worth far more than face value. Collectors go wild for these kinds of coins. There are coin shows, online auctions, and private collections constantly on the lookout for the next great find. And what's truly thrilling is that many of these treasures are discovered in the most unexpected places, found in an old jar of change, at the bottom of a piggy bank, or sitting unnoticed in a cash register. The idea that anyone could stumble upon a small fortune in such an ordinary object is what keeps the excitement alive in the coin collecting world. So, if you've got some spare change lying around, it might be time to take a second look. Pull out those old coins, grab a magnifying glass, and start inspecting those dates and mint marks. Pay special attention to any 1973 pennies you come across. Look for sharp details, strange textures, and even the smallest abnormalities. You never know when you might strike gold, or in this case, copper, And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Among these 1973 Lincoln 1-cent pennies, there exists a particular version, flawless, rare, and nearly impossible to find, that recently sold for a staggering amount. Not hundreds. Not thousands. But $87,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny from 1973, something most people would overlook, sold for $87,000. Let that sink in. From 1 cent to $87,000. That's the incredible story of the 1973 Lincoln penny. So the next time you're about to toss your change into a jar or slide it across a counter, take a closer look. That little coin in your hand could be hiding a history and a value that's worth far more than you ever imagined. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more surprising stories from the world of coins and collectibles. Until next time, happy hunting. Top 2. Have you ever held a penny in your hand and thought to yourself, could this actually be worth something? Most of us never really stop to wonder about the coins we toss into jars, lose in couch cushions, or hand over at the checkout counter. But what if I told you that one specific penny, a tiny little coin from 1975, could be hiding something far more valuable than you could ever imagine? A penny that, under the right circumstances, is worth more than a brand new car, a down payment on a house, maybe even more than what some people make in a year. Today, we're diving into the mysterious and fascinating world of the 1975 Lincoln 1-cent penny. It's one of those coins that nearly everyone has come across at some point, yet very few realize its true potential. You see, while millions of these pennies were minted and released into everyday circulation, a select few stand out from the rest, either due to errors, extraordinary condition, or extremely rare traits. And for those special coins, collectors are willing to pay eye-popping amounts. Let's start with a little history. The Lincoln cent has been around since 1909, created to honor the legacy of one of America's most iconic presidents, Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse of the coin features a detailed profile of Lincoln, while the reverse of the 1975 version still carries the image of the Lincoln Memorial. A simple and familiar design, but one that holds deep national pride and historical value. In 1975, the U.S. Mint produced these pennies in massive numbers, over 5 billion to be exact. Most were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, without a mint mark, and the Denver Mint, which carries a small D below the date. There were also proof versions, made in San Francisco for collectors, marked with an S. But here's where things start to get interesting. Not all pennies are created equal. Some of the 1975 Lincoln cents have hidden characteristics, minting errors, unusual compositions, or ultra-rare strike conditions that make them incredibly valuable. Imagine a penny that was mistakenly struck on the wrong metal. Or one where the lettering is doubled, a phenomenon known as doubled die. These aren't just slight imperfections. In the coin world, they're known as varieties or errors, and they can make all the difference between a 1-cent coin and a collector's dream. It's not just about mistakes either. The condition of the coin plays a massive role in its value. A penny that's been in circulation for decades, worn down by thousands of hands, is likely not worth much more than face value. But a coin that was carefully preserved, never used, and still has its original luster can be worth hundreds, or thousands. These coins are called mint state. And the closer a coin is to perfection, the more interest it draws from collectors. Even a standard 1975 penny with perfect coloring, sharp edges, and untouched details can fetch a surprising price at auction. But things get even more exciting when you bring in the idea of rarity. There are whispers and records of certain 1975 Lincoln cents being struck under unique and mysterious circumstances, off-metal strikes, transitional errors, or coins that slip through quality control with anomalies so rare that only a few are known to exist. These are the coins that drive collectors wild. They scour estate sales, dig through inherited coin jars, and attend auctions hoping to catch just one of these elusive finds. Let's paint a picture. You're sifting through some old change one day, maybe from a coin jar you haven't touched in years. A penny catches your eye. It looks just a little bit shinier, a little bit sharper than the others. You flip it over and check the date. It says 1975. You hold it up to the light, and something feels different. Could it be one of the rare ones? Could it be worth more than just a cent? Many people who found these high-value coins started just like that, by accident. They weren't experts or professional collectors. They were curious people who took a closer look. That's the beauty of coin collecting. It rewards patience, attention to detail, and sometimes, just pure luck. The coin you overlook today might be the same coin someone else cashes in for tens of thousands of dollars. Now here's what makes the story of the 1975 penny even more thrilling. In recent years, a specific example of this coin surfaced in such pristine condition, combined with an ultra-rare minting anomaly, that it turned heads across the coin collecting community. It passed through the hands of professional graders, was verified for its rarity, and eventually made its way to a major auction house. The bidding was intense, and collectors from around the world vied for the chance to own it. In the end, that single penny, a tiny coin from 1975, was sold for an astonishing amount. That 1-cent piece, that ordinary-looking penny that most people wouldn't think twice about, sold for $80,000. That's right. $80,000. Think about that for a second. A coin you could easily miss, that's small enough to slip through a hole in your pocket, turned out to be worth more than luxury vacations, high-end cars, or even multiple college semesters. It's a reminder that sometimes, the most valuable things are hiding in plain sight. So next time you get change back at the store, take a second to look. Examine those coins. Check the dates. Pay attention to the details. That 1975 Lincoln penny in your hand might not be just a piece of old currency. It might be the key to an incredible story and a life-changing surprise. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into the hidden value of everyday coins, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. You never know who might be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your change close, because treasure might be closer than you think. Top 3. In a world where everything seems to come with a hefty price tag, it's hard to imagine that something as small and ordinary as a penny could be hiding a secret, one that might just be worth a small fortune. But believe it or not, tucked away in pockets, drawers, and old coffee tins across America, there are coins that could change someone's life overnight. We're going to explore the fascinating story behind one such coin, the United States of America Lincoln 1-cent penny from the year 1978. Now, to most people, the 1978 penny probably doesn't look like anything special. It's got that familiar copper tone, the classic side profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the front, and the Lincoln Memorial proudly displayed on the back. It's the kind of coin you wouldn't think twice about using to pay for gum or tossing in a jar at the end of the day. But as we're about to uncover, there's much more to this little coin than meets the eye. Let's take a moment to understand the coin itself. The Lincoln cent has been a mainstay in American currency since 1909, originally introduced to mark the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design, crafted by Victor David Brenner, has stood the test of time. By 1978, the coin had become such a staple that billions of them were produced across 3 major mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia coins carry no mint mark, the Denver coins show a small D beneath the date, and the San Francisco versions, which were primarily made for collectors, bear an S. What's interesting about the 1978 penny is that it arrived at a time when the United States Mint was already dealing with massive production demands, which led to the occasional slip in quality control. These small mistakes and unusual production quirks are exactly what makes some coins from this year extremely desirable to collectors. A normal 1978 penny might just be worth face value, but certain variations and errors can launch its value into the stratosphere. So what are we talking about when we say errors and varieties? One possibility is a doubled die. This occurs when the coin's design is struck twice by the die, but slightly off alignment. If you've ever seen a coin where the date, or the word, Liberty, looks blurry or appears to have a shadow, that could be a doubled die, and that can mean serious money. Then there are off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, resulting in a warped or crescent-shaped appearance. In some cases, coins are even struck on the wrong metal planchet, like a blank meant for a different denomination. These rare errors are the stuff of collector dreams. Beyond errors, condition plays a massive role. The more perfect the coin, the higher its value. Coins that have never been in circulation, known as uncirculated or mint state, are especially prized. These are coins that still gleam like they did the day they were struck, with no scratches, no worn edges, and all the details sharply defined. Combine mint condition with a rare error, and you've got something truly exceptional. Over the years, coin experts and hobbyists have scoured through rolls and rolls of pennies from 1978, hoping to find that one special piece. Some people find them by accident, while cleaning out old drawers, going through inherited coin collections, or simply checking their pocket change. It's this thrilling possibility that has sparked a growing interest in coin collecting, especially among younger generations. And as the popularity of numismatics increases, so does the competition to find these hidden gems. Now imagine you're going through a handful of change after a long day. Your eyes drift over a 1978 penny, something you might normally overlook. But for some reason, this one looks different. Maybe it shines a little brighter. Maybe you notice a strange shadow on the date. Or maybe it just feels like there's something more to it. What you might be holding isn't just pocket change, it could be a rare find that collectors would pay handsomely to own. These aren't just stories. They're real. There are verified records of 1978 Lincoln cents being sold at auction for incredible prices due to a combination of rare characteristics and near-perfect preservation. These aren't fantasy figures or myths passed around the internet. They're actual sales that have stunned both collectors and casual observers alike. And now, for the part you've all been waiting for, the value. After all the excitement, all the hidden history, and all the possibility packed into this tiny copper coin, how much could one of these rare 1978 Lincoln pennies actually be worth? One such coin, in an exceptional state of preservation, with just the right combination of rarity and flawlessness, was once sold for the jaw-dropping sum of $77,000. Yes, you heard that right. $77,000. That's the power of numismatics. That's what makes the 1978 Lincoln penny such a fascinating piece of American currency. It's more than just a coin, it's a symbol of how something small, overlooked, and seemingly ordinary can hold unbelievable value when placed under the right light. And best of all, these coins are still out there. They're still waiting to be found. So the next time you find yourself with a handful of change, don't just toss it aside. Take a moment. Look closely. Because that 1 cent might be worth much more than you ever imagined. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into the hidden value of America's most iconic coin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your fellow treasure hunters. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your coins even closer. You never know what you might discover. Top 4. There are a lot of things we overlook every single day. Routine moments, forgotten objects, things that seem too ordinary to matter. But what if I told you that one of those tiny, everyday things, something you've likely had in your hands thousands of times, could be worth more than some luxury cars or even an entire college education? Today, we're diving deep into the story of one of America's most overlooked treasures, the Lincoln 1-cent penny from 1981. At first glance, there's nothing flashy about this coin. It's small, copper-toned, and often sits unnoticed in jars, drawers, and glove compartments. Most people wouldn't think twice before handing it over at a gas station or dropping it on the sidewalk. But hiding among the billions of 1981 Lincoln cents in circulation are a few extremely rare specimens, coins that have stunned collectors and auctioneers alike. Coins that prove you should never underestimate what might be hiding in plain sight. Let's take a closer look at the coin itself. The 1981 Lincoln penny carries the same classic design that Americans have known for decades. The obverse features a dignified profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, a portrait that first appeared in 1909. On the reverse, you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, majestic, symmetrical, and instantly recognizable. This design was used from 1959 to 2008, and while it may look simple, the real story lies in the details. In 1981, the U.S. Mint was still producing pennies using a primarily copper composition, 95% copper and 5% zinc. That would change the following year in 1982, when the Mint transitioned to a mostly zinc composition to cut down on production costs. This makes the 1981 penny one of the last of its kind. More than 13 billion were struck between the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. The Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, Denver coins carry a D, and proof coins from San Francisco bear the S. So with that many in circulation, why would any of them be worth more than face value? Here's where the story gets interesting. While most of these coins are still only worth a penny, a tiny number possess qualities that make them extraordinarily rare. And rarity is the key to value in the world of coin collecting. Some 1981 pennies were struck with doubling errors, where parts of the design, like the date or the lettering, appear to have a shadow or a doubled image. This minting flaw, known as a doubled die, creates a dramatic and easily visible effect when seen up close. Others might feature off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't perfectly aligned during the minting process, resulting in an unusual shape or misaligned design. Some even have issues with the metal composition or planchet, being struck on the wrong blank entirely. But perhaps the most important factor is the condition of the coin. Collectors are always on the hunt for coins in mint state condition, meaning the coin has never been used in circulation and retains its original shine, edges, and detail. A 1981 penny that has been preserved flawlessly, without a single fingerprint, scratch, or blemish, could command a price far beyond what most people would ever expect from a 1-cent coin. And this is where things start to get truly exciting. Every now and then, one of these rare coins finds its way into the hands of a collector or surfaces at an auction house. When it does, the reaction is electric. Experts analyze every detail: weight, strike quality, mint mark, metal composition, and visual appearance. If everything checks out, and if the coin has that rare, elusive combination of condition and error, the bidding begins, and the prices climb quickly. Imagine walking into a coin shop or digging through your childhood piggy bank, only to find a 1981 penny that feels a bit different. You put it under a magnifying glass, and the date seems off. The letters look unusual. You look up the coin, and suddenly you're deep down the rabbit hole of rare pennies, numismatic forums, and collector stories. It might sound like fantasy, but it has happened. And for some lucky individuals, it's turned ordinary change into extraordinary opportunity. There's something captivating about the idea that something so tiny and so overlooked can carry such immense value. It's why the coin collecting community is always growing. Every day, new collectors are learning the ropes, watching for details, and hoping for that one incredible find. And the 1981 penny continues to be one of those coins that draws attention, not just because of how many were made, but because of the select few that hold secrets the average eye would miss. So what's the big number? How much could one of these rare 1981 Lincoln cents be worth if it checks all the boxes? Mint condition, striking error, extreme rarity, and historical significance? Well, one of these extraordinary coins has already made headlines. A flawless 1981 Lincoln penny, authenticated and graded at the highest levels, was sold to a passionate collector for a jaw-dropping price. That single, unassuming penny, no larger than your thumbnail, was sold for $67,000. Yes, $67,000. That's the kind of story that gives people goosebumps. That's the magic of coin collecting. The idea that a tiny piece of metal, meant to be worth only a fraction of a dollar, could hold within it enough value to change someone's life. So the next time you're handed a penny, don't rush to toss it in a tip jar or let it roll under the seat of your car. Take a moment. Look at the date. Examine the details. Because among the billions of ordinary coins out there, a handful of extraordinary treasures are still waiting to be discovered, and yours might be the next one. Thank you for joining us on this fascinating journey into the hidden world of American coins. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and share with anyone who might have a jar of change collecting dust at home. Until next time, keep your eyes sharp, your pennies safe, and your curiosity alive, because you never know where the next treasure might be hiding. Top 5. What if I told you that one of the most common coins in your pocket change, the little copper penny you've probably ignored 1,000 times, might just be worth a small fortune? Imagine holding what you think is just another ordinary cent, only to find out that it could change your life forever. In today's video, we're uncovering the incredible story behind one of the most fascinating coins in U.S. history, the Lincoln 1-cent penny from the year 1982. At first glance, the 1982 penny looks just like any other. It features the familiar, stoic face of President Abraham Lincoln on the front, and the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the back. But don't be fooled by appearances. This year, 1982, was a turning point in U.S. coin production. A year of major change. And because of that, it became one of the most complex and collectible years for Lincoln cents ever produced. To understand why 1982 is such a big deal in the coin world, you have to know a little bit of background. Up until that year, Lincoln cents were made primarily of copper, 95% copper and 5% zinc. But with the rising cost of copper, the U.S. Mint made a dramatic decision: switch the penny's composition to mostly zinc, coated with a thin layer of copper. This wasn't just a quiet behind-the-scenes change. It created a whirlwind of confusion, overlap, and variation that still puzzles collectors to this day. What makes the 1982 penny unique is that it was the only year when both copper and zinc pennies were produced. Not only that, but there were also changes in the size of the lettering on the coin. So you ended up with 7 different known varieties, large date and small date versions in both copper and zinc from Philadelphia, large and small date versions in zinc from Denver, and a final copper large date from Denver as well. That's right, 7 official types, and that's just the beginning. Because of this chaotic transition, several era coins slipped through the cracks. Some coins were struck with the wrong metal. Others had mismatched dies. And to this day, collectors are still discovering 1982 pennies with unique characteristics that were never supposed to exist. In fact, even experts are still uncovering surprises from this 1 year alone. So what should you be looking for? First, the composition. You can test whether your 1982 penny is copper or zinc by simply weighing it. Copper pennies weigh around 3.11 grams, while zinc pennies are closer to 2.5 grams. That small difference can make a huge impact, especially if you're holding one of the rarer varieties. Then there's the date. Look closely at the shape of the numbers. A small date and a large date look quite different when compared side by side. Some combinations are far more scarce than others, and here's where it gets even more thrilling. One extremely rare variety is a 1982 small date penny made of copper that was never supposed to exist. This version was mistakenly struck before the full transition to zinc and is considered one of the holy grails for Lincoln cent collectors. There are only a handful known to exist, and when one shows up, collectors go wild. These pennies are hunted, tested, studied under microscopes, and authenticated by the top coin grading agencies in the world. But even beyond the ultra-rare varieties, other 1982 Lincoln cents in perfect condition, especially those with striking errors or uncirculated brilliance, can demand impressive prices. Coins that show doubling on the date or lettering, coins that are off-center, or coins that have unusual toning or luster are highly desirable. Condition matters a lot. The difference between a penny that's been in circulation and one that looks like it was just minted yesterday can mean thousands of dollars. Now imagine this: you're cleaning out an old drawer. You find a dusty jar of coins that's been sitting there for years. You pour it out, and a shiny penny catches your eye. It says 1982. You check the date, the weight, the lettering. Something seems different. Could it be one of the rare ones? Could it be worth more than you ever imagined? This isn't just wishful thinking. It's real. There are documented cases of 1982 pennies that have been sold for incredible amounts. Not because they're made of gold, but because they are rare, unexpected, and represent a pivotal moment in U.S. minting history. The beauty of coin collecting is that these treasures don't come with flashing signs or neon labels. They look just like the coins you see every day, until you take a closer look. Now let's talk about the kind of value we're dealing with. We're not talking about $10. Not even a few hundred. One of these extraordinary 1982 Lincoln cents, carefully preserved, stunningly rare, and carrying the right combination of history, error, and condition, has sold for a breathtaking amount. That single 1-cent coin was purchased by a dedicated collector for a total of $63,000. Yes. $63,000. That's the kind of discovery that changes your perspective on pocket change forever. It turns the routine into the remarkable. And it proves that even the smallest coin can carry the weight of history, value, and possibility far beyond its original purpose. So, next time you reach into your pocket, or shake out that old coin jar from the back of your closet, take a second to look a little closer. Because you might just be holding more than a penny, you might be holding a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Thanks for watching. If this video surprised or inspired you, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with anyone who might be sitting on a hidden treasure without even knowing it. Until next time, keep looking, keep learning, and never underestimate the value of what you carry every day.